What color skin emoji do you use?
If I used one, it would be black.
What? Hold on, bruh. Jordan Peterson said if he used a thumbs up skin emoji in a text message or DM or any type of message, he will use the black one. See, I knew that was, that's my brother from another mother right there. Let's go, Jordan Peterson. I told you that's my guy. I told y'all that's my guy right there. Huh? He said he would use the black one. Huh?
If I used one, it would be black.
Why?
Why not? It's so preposterous, all of that. You know, everything that's happened to Rogan, all this idiocy around race, this insistence that we can be reduced to our race, our ethnicity, our sexual identity. It's so appalling and it's so destructive.
He's not about playing no games, man. He's so over it. He takes life seriously. I wonder if my man has fun at all. Like, do you have fun at all, Mr. Peterson? I hope you do, man. He said, if I used it. So that means he does not put up the thumbs up. What do you do? Do you text at all? I don't think he do.
It's so appalling and it's so destructive. And one of the reasons that I had a lot of reasons for making my political stance in relationship to Canada's compelled speech laws. I had a lot of reasons for making my views about that known. One of them was the fact that my government had introduced a bill that required me to say things a certain way, which was an unparalleled move in the history of Western democracies and something the Americans had made strictly unconstitutional, I believe in 1942. So that was part of it. Part of it was I knew that this top-down mandated belief that confusion around gender identity was a positive occurrence to provide that freedom, let's say. I knew that for every person that saved, that would doom 1,000 people, primarily girls, to a kind of psychological contagion as confusion about sex and gender identity ramped up. I knew the literature on psychological contagion. It's quite.
What is that? What's psychological
detailed.
contagion?
Now, he's about to break down some really heavy stuff when it comes to like well-researched information that pretty much backs up why he refuses not refuse. He didn't say he refused. I apologize for saying that. He has an issue with the new laws that are being passed in Canada, forcing him to have to address people in a certain type of way, say certain type of things. And he has a huge problem with that. But please remind me to read an email to you guys that I received from someone about this right here who have a huge problem with me reacting to Jordan Peterson today because of this exact same subject and topic. So yeah.
Psychological contagion. It's quite.
What is that? What's psychological
detailed.
contagion?
You could think about them as psychological epidemics. So the last one of any real size was the Satanic Daycare scares in the 1980s. You're probably not old enough to remember that, but the longest sentences in U.S.
crazy
criminal justice history were handed out often to women who were accused of late onset female sexual predation of children in daycare centers. The FBI invented a whole new category of perpetrator, a category that didn't exist because there are no late onset female sexual child sexual predators. They don't exist. But there were women who obtained prison sentences of several hundred years for hypothetically being involved in these satanic daycare abuse rituals. And it just swept across the whole country like the Salem witch trials, except at a much larger scale. There's a book called Satan's Silence that was written by a lawyer and a social worker that documents it. It's just unbelievable. There were stories about underground tunnels where children were being taken down and being, well, every possible thing you could think of was happening to them, all in the name of like satanic ritual.
Wow.
It was a contagion. And those things happen. It happened with cutting behaviors. It happened with eating disorders. This is almost all among girls because teenage girls are most prone to this. They called it hysteria back in Freud's time, but there's a book by a man named Henry Ellenberger called Discovery of the Unconscious that traces back psychogenic epidemics to about 300 years. And I knew that, people in adolescence, especially people of a certain personality configuration, have some trouble settling into a stable identity. And for a variety of reasons, it can be high negative emotion, which is associated with low self-esteem. Those are more or less the same thing. And then, in all likelihood, high trait openness, which is the creativity dimension. And the high trait openness people, they're the ones that are more likely to have green hair and red hair and lots of piercings and lots of tattoos and dress in a...
What does this guy not have information on? How, like he asked, okay, I guess he asked them about it because more than likely Jordan Peterson probably then wrote a book about it or wrote a bunch of papers on it or something like that. So of course he will have all this information. If he didn't, the gentleman, what's his name? Chris Williamson would not have asked him about it. So he's really breaking it down, like to a point that in order for me to really understand every single thing he's saying, I won't re-listen to this. Well, I will have to re-watch this video, as you should watch this reaction over if you didn't understand it properly. Or if you already know as well, please feel free to break it down to me in plain speak how you understand it, because we don't all learn the same type of way. But this guy is like just filled with just knowledge. Of course you don't take things too lightly if what you do for the great majority of the time is study, study, study. And when you're not studying, you're teaching, teaching, teaching. I think that's absolutely phenomenal, bro. I mean, the discipline that he has to have is it's out of this world. It gotta be.
They're the ones that are more likely to have green hair and red hair and lots of piercings and lots of tattoos and dress in a non-standard manner, let's say. That's all associated with creative behavior. And they have trouble catalyzing a single identity. And then if you throw in categorical confusion, which is exactly what you're doing when you declare that there's, an endless number of gender identities, then people who are prone to identity dissociation and to psychogenic contagion, you're going to demolish them.
There is an obsession.
Abigail Schreier has documented that quite nicely in her book, Irreversible Damage. And it's way more girls than boys. And it's thousands and thousands and thousands of them. So you think, well, perhaps a few people who are transgender benefited from this new reality. But for everyone who's benefited, and, I'd like to see the data just showing how much they actually benefited. And that'll take a long time to accrue. There's 1,000 people who've been just demolished by this. So, and then what else on the...
If you're one of the people out there who believe the opposite of what Jordan Peterson is saying, feel free to comment below. And people, if you see someone comment opposing Jordan Peterson's views, please don't jump on them, and please don't be a bully in the comments and put them down for not believing what you believe. Because from what I understand, Jordan Peterson is a free thinker, and he's completely against groupthink. And when you all are inside of the comment section and someone was to post something opposite of what you believe, and you jump on them, you're operating under groupthink, which is opposite of what Jordan Peterson teaches and preaches. So that will be in and of itself hypocrisy. So allow them to speak and put their information out there, and we will look into it the same way that most of us, some of us, blindly believe Jordan Peterson. One thing I like to do is when I hear him say something, I like to go look into it and make my decision after that. It takes me a little bit longer to understand because I don't learn as fast or when it comes to certain things the same way scholars do. Y'all can read a book and be able to remember a lot of what you read. Me, I will have to do it 3-4 times in order to be able to hold in that information. So, yeah.
Yes. So, and then what else on the, well, that's basically that on the political front. I could see all that coming. I talked to the Canadian Senate about it when they put in the legislation. They didn't listen. They just thought racism, bigotry, sexism. It's like, yeah, have it your way. But, you know, so what, all these girls that have rapid onset gender dysphoria and are disfiguring themselves and taking hormones and, you know, wreaking havoc with themselves and their families and the broader culture. These people that were so woke and so permissive, you think they're going to have that on their conscience? They're on to something, some other noble venture.
What's happening?
Okay, that was dope. Again, y'all let me know what y'all thought about this in the comments below. If you have yet to hit that subscribe button, please make sure you do so on your way out the door. Once again, guys, I am Van, and now we are all the LFR family, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video and hopefully inside of the Patreon as well. Feel free to join us on Twitch so you can be a part of our lives, and I'll see you next time. Love y'all.